So yesterday was the Galaxy Unpacked event, and I just want to talk a little bit about it and how some of the products are being treated a little bit differently in the UK in terms of price and availability. I'm going to go through them, and I'm going to presume that you know the basic specs and what target audience each one is aimed at, because obviously that would be like a 20-minute video. And I'm going to go from cheapest to most expensive. So I'm going to talk about Galaxy Book Pro, Galaxy Book Pro 360, which is the flip one, and then the Galaxy Book Odyssey, which is the one with the GPU in it. And just for reference, I'm reading this all off of GSM Arena because they've just got everything listed about these laptops, and they've got stuff listed that they didn't even say in the presentation. Starting off with the Samsung Galaxy Book, that's the one with the LCD display instead of AMOLED, and it's the cheapest one that's clearly marketed towards like the more general consumer instead of like creatives and people that want to play games. And as I say, it has the LCD display. It also has like lower end models. It starts off at $550 is what they said, and that's for the i3 version with 4GB of RAM. However, that'd be great in the UK if they were actually offering it. In the UK, for some reason, you have to start at £700 with the i5 8GB version, and there's no i3 version for some reason. And then another thing about the lowest end Galaxy Book is that if you keep configuring upwards, you can eventually put an MX450 GPU in it, which I don't think they mention anywhere in the actual presentation unless I missed it like an idiot. An MX450 is quite good for gaming on the very, very low end. And obviously if you're thinking of doing creative work or 3D work, just any GPU is great, to be honest, even if it's as low powered as this one. But I can imagine that's on like the highest end configs, so I'm guessing that you've gone past £1,000 at that point, which then you're going to start looking into the Galaxy Book Odyssey because, you know, 3050. And then the last quick notable thing about the Galaxy Book versus the Galaxy Book Pro, the Galaxy Book only has Dolby Atmos instead of AKG's touch software, and has a fingerprint reader, which is optional for some reason. Then onto the Galaxy Book Pro, which again can be configured with an MX450 in it, which again I don't think they actually mention. The display on this one, which is the main selling point, is that it's AMOLED, but it's only 1080p, which is a bit strange because, you know, you've got the MacBooks around this price which have got slightly better displays. Now again, going back to the UK thing, they advertise this as $1,000 or $999 at start, which it was an okay price. However, in the UK, it's £1,100 starting for the i5 8GB version, which is, I believe, the lowest one you can get of this specific version. Another thing I don't think that they mentioned in the conference was that the screen can switch between sRGB and Adobe RGB mode, which is great for creatives, especially video editing, and also photography. It seems like it's aimed towards that, and again, because the entire event was kind of aimed towards Apple with their MacBooks, you can imagine they're going after the videography and photography market, because a big chunk of those guys go for MacBooks because everything's just optimized so well. And also, if you have a 13.3-inch model, you'll lose the HDMI port, which I can imagine with a Thunderbolt 4 port, if you put it in a dock setup, you're not going to miss it. Then we have the Galaxy Book Pro 360, which is the flip version of the Galaxy Book Pro for a little bit more money. This one can't be configured with an MX450 GPU. You lose that option in trade-off for the flip, which I guess if you're getting a laptop for the flip, you're not going to want a GPU, but at the same time, you've got Microsoft Surface Books all the way up there that, you know, can completely detach from a keyboard, and they still have stuff like 1650s in them. And also I forgot to mention that the Pro 360 and the Pro in the i5 and i7 variants both have the Intel Iris Xe graphics. However, in the UK, this is the first one to actually match the price in dollars that they said on the presentation. It does start at $1,200 for the 13-inch version. And then we get onto the Galaxy Book Odyssey, which was a surprise drop because not even Nvidia has announced the 3050 or 3050 Ti yet. You can configure this one with either of those. And that's one thing that they glossed over in the presentation is, yes, the Galaxy Book Odyssey starts at $1,400. However, that's for just a 3050. That is not a 3050 Ti, which to me is a bit, but then again, you are getting a really good 11th gen processor as well. However, one thing that's really notable about this one is that it's actually upgradable. They've actually made it a practical model where you can take the bottom off and actually upgrade the RAM and the storage. Oh, and do you know what I've just read? And I didn't actually know this from the presentation. That most expensive Galaxy Book Odyssey, you'd think it'd have an AMOLED display. It doesn't. It has an LCD 1080p screen. There's also no LTE connection even available here. You have to just stick with Wi-Fi. You do get Wi-Fi 6, which is great, but it does feel like it feels like the Odyssey is in its own ballpark compared to being an upgrade from the Pro and Pro 360, if you get what I mean. Honestly, just looking at these and having watched the presentation, I don't know, I was expecting an ARM-based chip because I thought they were going to completely go after Apple, go down the same route, and I thought it was going to start off a whole chain reaction of laptops becoming primarily ARM-based, which hopefully then might have even led into desktops potentially getting ARM CPUs and motherboards. It obviously is a go at the MacBook, but I don't really understand where Samsung was going with this, because if someone's going for a GPU in a laptop, you're probably going to go for a gaming laptop, which you can find ones with 3060s under £1,000. So if you're going for that aspect of it, you aren't going to go for Samsung, unless for some reason you want the reliability of Samsung. They're going to have to do a lot of convincing with creatives, unless the creative is like specifically using Windows software, which then they might go for this, but at the same time, they might go for the Surface Laptop 4. And honestly, with the MX450 being included in the higher up configs, and if you're going for that, you're going for the fact that it's a GPU at least. However, you can get laptops with MX250s and MX350s in for around £750 to £800. I do love tech, and I'm not a complete expert on it, don't get me wrong, but I feel like each one has its own... It hits the mark on some parts, and then some parts it just kind of misses. Like, its target audience, it's just, oh, here's a GPU, but it's a bit more expensive than what that GPU would cost in a different laptop. Or here's this 3050 Ti, but you only get an LCD screen instead of an AMOLED, which would obviously be a lot better for creatives. I don't know, again, I'm not an expert. Let me know what you think down in the comments, guys, because it wasn't really the best presentation in the world. I do feel like they've kind of missed the mark, unfortunately. Anyway, guys, this is a short video, but I'm trying to make it so I upload more here on YouTube, so if you guys do enjoy this kind of content, please consider subscribing. Also, consider joining my Discord, because I know a lot of people have actually discovered my last 2 videos, which is insane, really. I never thought my YouTube would gain any traction whatsoever. I'm going to keep trying to push out all the tech content and the tech news content as well, so if you want to keep up to date, again, consider subscribing. But for now, maybe next year, Samsung. Bye, guys.